In today's video, I'm going to share 10 red flags you need to know if you want to spot those nutritional fads and frauds, all that misinformation about nutrition that can really impact your health negatively. Hi everyone, my name is Adele and I'm a hypothyroid patient, and in this channel we talk everything about hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the autoimmune disease of your thyroid gland. Now, there's a lot of nutritional information out on the internet, and it really is important to look for those red flags if you want to make sure that the nutritional information that you are listening to and perhaps even considering intaking is the right advice for you, for your thyroid, and generally for your health. The first red flag you should look out for is when someone gives you an absolute, something that says it's the best, the worst, or you should always do something, or you should never do anything. So what are those typical statements and what do they look like? It's something that looks like the best foods you should always eat when you have a thyroid condition, or you should never eat this after 7 o'clock at night, or even you must drink this juice every single morning for better health. What we have to keep in mind is that everyone responds differently to food, and everyone's nutritional demands are completely different. So depending on your health status, how much you exercise, whether you're pregnant or not. So just taking general advice out there that you should eat something or should avoid something, that can actually be extremely dangerous for your health. One example that I can think of is in the thyroid world is that people say you must cut out gluten if you have Hashimoto's. Well, that could be true for many patients, but for a lot of patients, if you take out gluten, you can actually cause some nutritional deficiencies, especially fiber, because a lot of those seeds are high in fiber. So be very careful if you see those statements like always, never, you must, the best, the worst. Just take a step back. The second red flag is when someone cherry picks research and wave it around as the holy grail of all research. This is when they say things like, a recent study found, or it's like, according to this very specific research, or even science shows, but there's no link to the actual science that they reference. Or they could be referencing some ancient research that was done 1 trillion years ago. You know those research that I'm talking about. It's done like in the 1920s. And there's just been so much research recent, but they tend to ignore the more recent research and just tend to focus on that one research that could be a little bit obscure and done in some point in time to support their specific health claim. What we have to keep in mind is that real research often has a body of evidence to support it. Now, there are some instances where there's just not enough interest or funding for research. One aspect that I can think of in the Hashimoto's field or the autoimmune field is using low-dose naltrexone for supporting your immune system. Now, there isn't research available on the use of LDN for autoimmunity just because LDN is an off-label drug and there's no financial sense for pharmaceutical companies to do that kind of research. The third red flag is the magical quick fix. You know those ones I'm talking about. It's the lose 10 pounds in 10 days type thing, or eat this and you will instantly feel better. Detox your body overnight, or just include this in your diet and you will magically heal your thyroid gland and all your problems will be solved. Yes, these things do happen and we still see them all the time, especially with weight loss and weight loss supplements and weight loss strategies. I mean, who doesn't want to lose 5 kilos in 10 days? Real health takes time. Real health takes sustainable habits that you build over time so that you can really support your health and stay healthy for the long term. There is no magic bullet unless you count patience and consistency. But those two things doesn't really make great TikTok videos. The next red flag is the us versus them. This is the don't trust anyone but me type of scenario. If someone is telling you not to trust the doctors, not to look at the science because it's all untrue and it's all a big fallacy, I want you to run in the other direction and preferably in comfortable running shoes. The classic phrases include things like, Big Pharma doesn't want you to know this, or doctors are hiding the truth, or only I have the real answer to your problem. So this is not necessarily good science. This specific red flag, the us versus them, is all about creating mistrust so that you don't trust credible resources and so that you don't go and really look at what is the actual research that is behind the nutritional strategies that some people will provide. This is classic manipulation and a typical red flag that I have seen so often in clickbait articles and clickbait videos. Let's move on to the next one. And this is the, oh, it's natural, so it must be good for you, right? You have seen it, you have probably tried it as well. I know I certainly have. And just because something is natural doesn't mean it's healthy. All right. So arsenic is natural, doesn't mean it's healthy for you. When you see things like 100% natural ingredients or no chemical, nature's cure for everything, I want you just to take a step back and really think, yes, it may be natural, but it may not be healthy for you. The next red flag is the food blame game. And this is when someone says that one food, one nutrient, or one thing in your life is the be-all and end-all of all your health woes. And I'm looking at you again, gluten and dairy. Especially in the Hashimoto's field, this is the two elements that's often cited that you should completely remove from your diet first when you have Hashimoto's. Some of the phrases that you can look out for are these. Avoid, insert food here, at all costs. Sugar is toxic, or carbs are the enemy. What we have to keep in mind that nutrition is complex. Your health is complex. It's not just a simple case of cutting carbs, avoiding sugar, or, looking at gluten and dairy again, just cutting it out. Blaming one particular food for everything that is wrong in your life or in your health, that is just not healthy, and it's definitely not the best or the healthiest approach to take. The next red flag that you should look out for when looking at nutrition advice is those, let's call it silly comparisons. It's the ones that they say bacon is healthier than an apple because it has less sugar. Well, you're not really comparing apples with apples, are you? No pun intended there. These comparisons are just silly. And if you go and look, there are actual research that has been paid for and funded that they make these, I almost want to say, stupid comparisons. So if you're looking at a bowl of spinach versus a bowl of cookies, and that spinach has more oxalates than cookies or less calories than cookies, well, yeah, obviously. So when you see these studies with these silly comparisons, just pass on to the next one. The next nutritional red flag is buzzwords and jargon, especially if you get bombarded with buzzwords and jargon. And this could be things like detoxing, cleansing, superfoods, alkalizing, boost metabolism, biohacking, miracle ingredients, resets. I mean, there's just a whole amount that people can really use in combination, in overwhelm, to confuse you. So when you need something like a dictionary to really understand what they're talking about, I would pause and just take a step back before listening to that advice. The next red flag is when there are just vibes and no research. So this is when there's no evidence, no research, but you have the trust me vibe. I know what I'm talking about. Oh, this happened to me, and you have probably a string of references of people saying how this magical ingredient has worked for them, especially when it's written on a website or in a newsletter, and it's this ingredient and testimonials after testimonials after testimonials, but there's no research. Or again, remember number 2, when they've cherry-picked their research, and it is here's the research, it's only 1 or 2, and then here's the hundreds of people and testimonials. So you should trust me because this works. Now, when you see that, I want you to pause. Take some time, scrutinize the results. Go and find those studies, read it up. Make sure that before you take something that has not been tested and that has not really been validated, before you take that and before you do more harm to your health than good. The next and last red flag, and this is probably one that I have seen way too often, it's the buy my stuff red flag. Now, I have sat through too many of those videos where you could not forward out of and you could not see the actual product to the end, and you have to watch the entire hour presentation where one doctor or one expert explains this huge problem and then how they, and only they, have found this proprietary product or done this amazing research to do this unique product that will solve this problem, and only they have it, and here's the link to their shop. So when I see specifically experts and doctors where they tout, here's a big problem and here's the solution, it's my product and you can only find my product on my website and you should buy this, I'm a little bit hesitant to part with my money. So firstly, I would always go and do the research myself. I would go read up before I spend money, my well-earned money, on products that may just be a waste of money. I'm not saying that all experts and doctors do this, but when they say, hey, only my product can help you with this, this is a definite red flag to me. So that's it from me today about the 10 red flags about nutrition that you should look out for when you are looking at foods or supplements that you're looking for to help you on your thyroid health journey. Now, if you like what you heard today, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And please remember to subscribe to my channel if you would like to hear more videos about thyroid health and Hashimoto's thyroiditis and what you can do as a thyroid patient to learn more about thyroid health. Take care until the next video. See you soon. Bye.